You can feel the springiness now. Imagine running on that, it must be brilliant. This is why kids love it, because if you're running on concrete or grass, it's just boring, and kids don't like it. But because they know they've got a bright running track that's all springy and bouncy, that's what gets them out. And that's why they don't need any encouragement to run on these things. Wow, that was amazing. It's really like standing on a settee or something. No, it's not like standing on a settee. Maybe a firm settee. If you were stood on a really firm settee, that's what it'd feel like. It'd have to be a very firm settee, but no, it's nothing like a settee. I'm on my way to Clee Hill Community Academy, which is a school. They're having a daily mile running track installed by our team today. Just quickly tell you what a daily mile running track is. About 10 years ago, a teacher had a really clever idea about getting kids out of the classroom, running for a mile a day, getting them from away from the computer games, because kids don't get enough exercise. So this is spread to lots of schools, and every day schools that take part in the daily mile have the kids run a mile, and then when they get back to the classroom, it helps them to concentrate on their studies as well. Anyway, what we find is that kids are much more likely to get involved with the daily mile if they've got a proper running track. You know, like a rubberized rubber track that you might see at an athletic stadium, and most schools don't have an athletic running track. However, because we do bouncy bond playgrounds, if we make a running track out of the same material, which is a bouncy bond rubber surface, it's more comfortable, more fun to run on, the kids like it more, and they don't really need to be persuaded to run the daily mile every day. I've never ever seen one. I've never seen one being installed, and that's why I'm on my way to Ludlow now, just see what it's all about, and hopefully show you a daily mile track under construction. Well, here we are at Clee Hill Community Academy. That was a lovely drive. I've never been to Ludlow before. It's well worth a day out. There's a few pubs that we've passed on the way, so I'm thinking a pint on the way back. Well, there's the track. Well, this isn't the track. Well, it is the track, but this is the sub base. So they've had to dig out all of the soil and all of the turf and put this sub base down. But I've just noticed over there the start of the actual bouncy bond. But this is the start of the track with the bouncy bond laid. And it's already bouncy. Probably hasn't set yet, so I hadn't better... that's really bouncy. Well, that's why they call it bouncy bond, I suppose. So these are all recycled, chopped up tyres then?
Industrial tyres, yeah, forklift tyres.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better than sticking them in landfill, isn't it?
Oh, you know, when you think about it, that's pretty horrific, wasn't it? But we didn't know any other, did we?
No. What is it? I mean, that looks like it's going on kind of loose, but how does that set then?
Well, the rubber is extremely dry during the processing of the manufacture of the rubber. It is very dry. It's essential that it's very dry. You don't want any moisture in there at all, because it can cause a reaction with the polyurethane resin.
And that's like glue, is it, that you mix in?
It's glue. It's a very, very strong but versatile glue. Very safe, very, very strong, porous, so that when it's part of the consolidated surface, the whole thing is porous, so it will provide the safety surface that you require, but it will also allow the rainfall through.
So that stops any puddles forming, I assume?
Well, it does, but it's absolutely essential that the correct preparation is undertaken, really, in regard to putting the MOT Type 1 sub-base in.
Right. So how deep does that go down?
That's actually on this, because the ground is very, very unstable. It's made up ground. There is approximately 150 mil of compacted stone here.
150 mil?
Which is
15 centimetres?
Well, that's 6 inches.
Yeah.
And usually you would, after compaction, you would aim to get around about 4 inches, 100 mil compacted. But we judge it as we go along, and if we think it needs more, even if there is a cost implication to us, we'll dig out more and we'll put in more.
Right.
Because if a job's worth doing,
it's worth doing well.
Right, really.
Yeah. Right. Okay, there's another load going in. It's so bright and shiny. Now, is this super heavy then, Matt? Is that...
Yes, it's heavy enough to weight the surface down to give the desired finish that I require, but not too heavy that makes it firstly unliftable,
yeah,
and secondly compress the surface too much.
Right. Yeah, that's enough of that. My hands have gone all tacky as well. Thing is just how deep this is. You have to dig. This is really quite a long job, because this is day 5 and they still haven't done it. Can you imagine? This is 250 square feet, so imagine a square foot times that by 250. That's how much work's gone into this. They have to get all of the soil out, all of the top turf, all of the soil, dig down deep. They need to put the sand and other aggregate materials in there. They have to put all of this stone down as a sub-base, which means it can drain freely. Oh, I'm going to stick some technical things on the screen because I don't know, but there's a lot of planning that goes into this sub-base. I don't know if you can even hear me because it's so noisy. That's what they're doing to mix the bouncy bond. So all these shredded tyres get put into a machine, and this resin, this glue, gets mixed with the the chopped up tyres, and Bouncy Bond comes out the other end. And then they've got to line it on each side with timber. So it's a huge amount of work they've got to do before they even start laying the Bouncy Bond. This is where they started the Bouncy Bond here. I'm actually quite surprised at how thick that is. You can feel the springiness now. Imagine running on that, it must be brilliant. This is why kids love it, because if you're running on concrete or grass, it's just boring, and kids don't like it. But because they know they've got a bright running track that's all springy and bouncy, that's what gets them out. And that's why they don't need any encouragement to run on these things. I feel like having a run myself. I'd get in trouble, wouldn't I? Look how thick that is. That must be 2 inches in height. That's why it's so springy. I really want to run. But can you imagine if I did that and there was all footprints all over it and they had to start again? Can you imagine? So the idea is that every day the kids come out. Presumably what they've got to do is they've got to measure well, it's 250 meters. How many laps have they got to do with 250 meters to make a mile? I'll work that out and put that on the screen. So presumably they've got to do about 10 laps. Do they have to do a daily mile? Of course they've got to do a mile. It's called the daily mile. But let's walk around it. So all the kids come out and they go crazy running along these things. I'll also put some footage in of a previous one that I didn't see. We had a drone operator making that video. So the kids come out and they run on the daily mile track, and because it's so bouncy, they fly, and it's real fun to run on. And if they fall over, it doesn't really hurt them because it's bouncy. It's low impact on their knees and on their feet, and if you land, it's not really going to cause you much damage. If you landed on concrete, it would hurt. They must feel as though they're athletes running around here. Look at that bend. It does remind me a little bit of a proper athletic track. I really feel like having a stand on it. No, it still feels a little bit squidgy, so I'm not going to do that. I would get into real trouble. They do not have much space, and you wouldn't think that you'd be able to have a running track on such a small space. But with a Bouncy Bond daily mile track, you don't even see it until you get up close. You don't even see the track. But when you see that really bright blue finish, it looks really good. I would love to come back here one day when the kids are out running. I bet they love it. Right, so what you're doing, Nick?
Put some 2 bags of rubber.
Yeah.
In there and mix it with resin.
Oh, okay.
And we mix it for a certain amount of time. It's sort of rubber.
Go on then, let's have a look at that then. It's like a huge washing machine. It's the resin that holds it all together. the amount of this rubber that they have to have for one of these installations is amazing. Come and look. There's one pile. There's another pile. There's also all of this lot. That's incredible. When you consider they've already laid half of it, so all of this lot, plus those bags down there. I can't actually believe how much rubber they need. They've already laid half of the track. That means they've done 125 square meters of it so far. There must be about, I don't know, 300 or 400 bags left. There's a huge stack here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 pallets there. Down there's another 2 pallets. So they must have started out with 1,000 bags of rubber. Can you believe that? How many tyres would have gone to landfill if it wasn't for this project? And the amazing thing is, it never needs to be burned. It never needs to be incinerated. It never needs to go into landfill, because kids are going to be running on it for years to come. It's amazing. And look at this. I've never ever seen this before in my life. I wish there was one of these when I was a kid. You've got a stopwatch, so kids will be able to run around here and try to break their own record. That's amazing. Right, so I've learnt a little bit more about this bouncy bond track today. So they have to dig quite a way down. They put different layers in. They have to put huge amounts of stone in. Can you imagine how much stone has gone in there for 250 square meters? Then they've got to compact it all down. Then they've got to take about, I would say, 800 bags of chopped up industrial tyres that have all been coloured and treated so that there's no metal bits. They go through some quite clever procedures to make sure it's all safe and there's no foreign objects in there. Then it's painted so it looks lovely. Then it's mixed with a special resin in a, I can only describe it as a huge industrial washing machine. It's then laid at a thickness of about 2 inches on the track. It's raked into place. It's tamped down with a roller, and then presumably it's going to take 2 or 3 days to go off. The kids are back at Clee Hill Community Academy on, I think, the 6th of September. They're going to love it, aren't they? They are going to absolutely love it. They'll be able to run around this daily mile track, bouncy and springy, which is far more fun to run on, and they've got that stopwatch. And they'll be able to beat the records, be able to set records and beat them, and set themselves personal goals. And every day they can come in and try to beat their record. This is why these tracks have become more popular, because kids actually look forward to it. I mean, I don't know if you've got kids, but they don't always want to run. They might play football, but they really want to sit and play computer games. Whereas if you have a track like this that's fun to run on, they don't need much encouragement.
Run like hell, run like the wind, run like the fire as the devil walks in. I hear trouble ringing my bell, burn it down, baby, and run like hell.
Nobody's watching, so I've come to the this bit was done, I think probably 2 or 3 days ago, where I'm stood now, and I think it's kind of dry, so I'm gonna have a go at standing on it. Wow, that is so springy. I daren't go any further in case I ruin it. It hasn't fully gone off yet. That's amazing. Wow, that is amazing. It's really like standing on a settee or something. No, it's not like standing on a settee. Maybe a firm settee. If you were stood on a really firm settee, that's what it'd feel like. It'd have to be a very firm settee, but no, it's not nothing like a settee. And also, you've probably guessed this is just an iPhone video. So no camera crew today. And I don't think the sound's very good because it is quite windy. It's a lovely sunny day, but it is windy. So apologies for the poor sound. Thanks for watching this video. This has really opened my eyes. I wish there was one of these when I was a kid. You would be sitting there in the class, desperate to get out to run. And they're keeping fit. It's brilliant. You might decide that your school could use one of these. Well, there's a link in the comments or above, and you can pass the details on to your school. And it really doesn't matter how small their play area is and the field, because as I've seen today, it just seems to go in anywhere. It looks quite... I saw some photographs of this field before I came down and it looked really big, but it's not. It's about as big as a posh person's back garden. And if they can put a running track here, they can put one anywhere. Everything's mini. You've got mini rugby, there's mini football, but they've now got a mini bouncy bond track, and it's really great. And let me just say this as well, it's such a bright blue. I've never seen anything, it makes it look really colourful and fun to run on. This is what makes it appealing for kids. Anyway, that's me signing off. I've had a lovely trip to Ludlow. I might even go for a pint on the way back. Past a few nice pubs. So I could do some dinner. I'm all bouncy bonded out. So from Clee Hill Community Academy in Ludlow, I'll sign off. Thank you for watching. Find out more about the Daily Mile Track and our other services for schools at keystageplay.co.uk.